The scar running down her forearm wasn't supposed to mean anything. Chioma Okafor had learned to hide it well beneath long sleeves, just another invisible mark on an invisible woman who restocked shelves at the GS25 convenience store in Gangnam 3 nights a week. But when Park Jihoon's eyes landed on the fresh bandage wrapped around her wrist during his 3 a.m. energy drink run, something shifted in the air between them. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as he set down his basket and moved toward her with the kind of quiet intensity that made her pulse spike. His voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Who hurt you?" Chioma's breath caught. She'd seen this man dozens of times over the past 4 months, always after midnight, always alone, always carrying the weight of something dark in his eyes. She knew 3 things about Park Jihoon. He never made eye contact, he always paid in cash, and the tattoos peeking from beneath his expensive streetwear suggested a life she shouldn't ask about. "Nobody," she whispered in her Korean that still carried traces of Legos. "I just caught it on a box." Jihoon stepped closer. She didn't step back, but her body tensed, ready to flee. That small flicker of fear in her dark eyes made something dangerous wake up inside him. For the first time in 8 years of running the underground fight circuit, Park Jihoon felt the careful control he'd built start to crack. Chioma had been in Seoul for 11 months, and invisible was supposed to be her superpower. She worked 3 jobs, studied Korean during bus rides, and sent money home to her younger brother's university fees every month without fail. The convenience store night shift paid the least, but demanded the most, and her supervisor made it clear that looking unpresentable meant immediate termination. So when her ex-boyfriend showed up at her Gosiwon 2 nights ago, drunk and demanding the money she'd refused to loan him, and when his grip on her wrist left marks that looked like accusation, Chioma had done what she always did. She covered it, showed up, and made herself smaller. Park Jihoon wasn't supposed to notice. Nobody ever noticed. But now he was standing 3 feet away, and she could see the way his jaw clenched, the way his hands flexed at his sides like he was physically restraining himself from reaching for her. "Show me," he said quietly. It wasn't a request. Park Jihoon didn't make requests. He made decisions, and people followed them. Because in the world of underground fighting where he'd built his reputation punch by punch, hesitation got you killed. "I need to finish stocking," Chioma said, her voice steadier than she felt. "The store's empty. Show me your wrist." She met his eyes then, really looked at him for the first time in 4 months. Sharp features that belonged on a model, not in a convenience store at 3 a.m. Dark eyes that had seen too much. A split lip that was freshly healing. He fought, she'd heard the other staff whisper. Park Jihoon fought in places where cameras didn't reach and questions didn't get asked. "Why do you care?" The question came out sharper than she intended. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe. "Because I've watched you for 4 months. His voice dropped, intimate and dangerous. "I know you work here Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I know you prefer the night shift because it pays more. I know you count your change 3 times before leaving, and you always buy the discount kimbap that's about to expire." Chioma's throat went dry. She thought herself invisible. "I know," Jihoon continued, taking another step closer, "that you hum when you restock the ramyeon aisle. Nigerian songs, I think. And I know that tonight you flinched when that customer raised his voice about the price, and you've been favoring your left hand since your shift started." He stopped directly in front of her, close enough that she could smell his cologne, expensive and clean, at odds with the split lip and the danger radiating from him. "So I'll ask again, who hurt you?" The store's automatic door chimed. A drunk businessman stumbled in, and Jihoon's entire demeanor shifted. He stepped back, grabbed a random energy drink, and moved to the counter with the fluid grace of someone who knew how to disappear into normalcy. But his eyes never left Chioma. She rang up her purchase with shaking hands, hyper-aware of his presence, of the way he watched her like he was memorizing every detail. When she handed him his change, his fingers brushed hers, deliberate and gentle. "My gym," he said quietly, in English, his accent thick but understandable. "Hongdae, near the club district. Red door, no sign. If you need help, come find me." Then he was gone, leaving Chioma standing in the fluorescent buzz of the convenience store, heart racing, wrists throbbing, and mind spinning with a single terrifying thought. Park Jihoon saw her. 3 days passed. Chioma told herself she wouldn't think about him, told herself that the business card he'd somehow slipped into her apron pocket, blank except for a phone number written in neat Hangul, meant nothing. Told herself that men like Park Jihoon, with their dangerous eyes and underground reputations, were exactly the kind of trouble she'd come to Seoul to escape. But Damalola wouldn't stop calling. Her ex had found her number through mutual friends back home, and his messages escalated from pleading to threatening with terrifying speed. He knew where she worked, knew where she lived, knew that Nigerian students on language visas had limited protections and even more limited options. On the 4th day, he showed up at the convenience store during her shift. Chioma was restocking the drink coolers when she heard his voice, loud and slurred and familiar in all the wrong ways. "Chi-Chi, baby, don't ignore me." Her hands froze on a banana milk. The store was empty except for her supervisor in the back office. "You need to leave. I just want to talk. We can work this out." Damalola's hand landed on her shoulder, spun her round. His grip was too tight, his eyes unfocused. "You owe me. I helped you get here, paid for your application, and now you're too good for me? You paid nothing. I saved every won myself, and Dami, please." Her wrist throbbed where he'd grabbed it before. "You're drunk. Just go." His other hand shot out, gripped her chin roughly. "You think these Korean boys are going to want you? You think you're special here? You're just another African girl trying to—" The automatic door chimed. Chioma's eyes darted past Damalola's shoulder, and her heart stopped. Park Jihoon stood in the entrance, and the air temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. He wasn't alone. 2 other men flanked him, both carrying the same dangerous energy, both watching the scene with cold calculation. "Let her go." Jihoon's voice was quiet, conversational almost, but it carried the weight of an order that expected immediate compliance. Before we dive into this intense world of scars, danger, and a love powerful enough to change fates, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single twist in this forbidden romance. Danalola turned, still gripping Chioma's face. "This is none of your business, man. This is between me and my girl." "She's not your girl." Jihoon moved with sudden, shocking speed. One moment he was by the door, the next he was directly in front of them, and his hand wrapped around Damalola's wrist with enough pressure that the other man gasped. "And you're going to leave now. Walk out that door and never come back." Something in Jihoon's tone must have penetrated Damalola's drunken haze because he released Chioma and tried to pull away. Jihoon's grip tightened. "Apologize to her first." "Fuck you, I don't—" The words cut off as Jihoon twisted Damalola's wrist at an angle that made him cry out. The 2 men behind Jihoon moved closer, forming a wall of muscle and threat. "Apologize," Jihoon repeated, and now his voice carried an edge that promised violence. "I'm sorry," Damalola gasped. "I'm sorry, Chi, I'm sorry." Jihoon released him, and Damalola stumbled backward, cradling his wrist. "If you contact her again, if you come near her workplace, if you so much as think her name," Jihoon spoke slowly, making sure every word landed, "I will find you. And what just happened will feel like mercy. Do you understand?" Damalola nodded frantically and fled. The automatic door chimed his exit, and silence filled the store. Chioma stood frozen, heart hammering, staring at Park Jihoon and his friends. Her supervisor's door remained closed. Nobody had come to help. Nobody except him. "Are you okay?" Jihoon's voice softened immediately, the threat vanishing as he turned to her. His eyes scanned her face, checking for damage. "Did he hurt you?" She should thank him, should feel grateful. Instead, rage bubbled up from somewhere deep and primal. "You can't do that." Her voice shook. "You can't just— What if he calls the police? What if my visa—" "He won't call anyone," Jihoon said calmly. "Men like him are cowards. They only hurt people they think can't fight back. You don't know what you've done." Chioma's eyes burned. "I have a visa to protect, a brother counting on me, a life that can't include whatever world you're from." She gestured at him, at his friends, at the casual violence they'd just displayed. "I didn't ask for your help." Something flickered in Jihoon's eyes. "Hurt, maybe." "No, you didn't, but you're getting it anyway." He pulled out his phone, typed something, then pocketed it. "He won't bother you again. I made sure." How? The question came out as a whisper. How did you know to come? Jihoon glanced at his friends, who took the hint and moved to browse the aisles, giving them privacy. I've been watching this store, making sure you're safe during your shifts. Chioma's breath caught. That's crazy? A ghost of a smile touched his split lip. Yeah, but I told you, I notice everything about you, Chioma. Her name in his mouth, careful and deliberate, sent shivers down her spine. You can't just decide to protect me. You don't even know me. Then let me know you. He stepped closer and she didn't retreat. Have coffee with me. Real coffee, not the vending machine garbage. Tomorrow after your shift. Jihoon, one coffee, one conversation. His hand lifted toward her face, then stopped, hovering, seeking permission she didn't know how to give. Let me prove I'm not the monster you think I am. I don't think you're a monster, she admitted quietly. I think you're dangerous. There's a difference. His smile grew, genuine this time. I am dangerous, but never to you. The store's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Somewhere in the back, her supervisor's door opened, and Chioma, who'd built her life on being invisible, on avoiding complications, on keeping her head down and her goals clear, heard herself say, one coffee. Jihoon's entire face transformed, made him look younger and almost boyish. Tomorrow, then. There's a cafe near Hangik University. Good coffee, quiet, safe. I'll pick you up after your shift. I can meet you there. I'm picking you up, he said firmly. And, Chioma, pack an overnight bag for emergencies. Stay with friends tonight, not your ghosty one, just in case. Then he was gone, leaving her standing in the convenience store, wrist still aching, heart racing with equal parts terror and something that felt dangerously like hope. Her supervisor emerged from the back office, looking around suspiciously. Everything okay? I heard voices. She touched her wrist, thought about Jihoon's hand wrapped around Demon Lola's arm, and thought about how quickly he'd moved to protect her. Everything's fine, she lied. Just a difficult customer. But as she finished her shift, she couldn't stop replaying his words. I notice everything about you. For the first time in 11 months of making herself invisible, someone had truly seen Chioma Okafor, and the most terrifying part was how much she wanted him to keep looking. The cafe near Hangik University was everything Jihoon had promised. Quiet, warm, tucked away from the main street chaos. Chioma arrived 10 minutes early, nervous energy making her pace outside until she saw him approaching. He wore simple clothes, black jeans and a hoodie, but he moved with the confidence of someone who owned every space he entered. You came, he said, relief evident in his voice. You thought I wouldn't? I thought you might reconsider. Decide I'm too complicated. He held the door open for her. Would have understood, but I'm glad you're here. They ordered, Chioma stumbling over the Korean menu until Jihoon gently intervened, ordering for both of them in rapid-fire Korean that made the barista smile. When they settled at a corner table, Chioma studied him properly for the first time. Your lip is healing, she observed. He touched it self-consciously. Had a fight 2 nights ago. Nothing serious. Define serious. Nobody died. He said it so casually that Chioma couldn't tell if he was joking. You're trying to shock me. I'm being honest. His eyes met hers. You wanted to know about my world, right? I fight. Underground circuit. No rules, big money. Been doing it since I was 17. Why? The question came out softer than she intended. Started because I needed money. My sister needed surgery, family had debt, and I was good with my fists. He shrugged. Kept doing it because I was really good with my fists. Built a reputation, now I run the circuit, organize fights, take a cut, and make sure things stay relatively civilized. Civilized violence, Chioma murmured. That's quite the oxymoron. Says the woman who works 3 jobs and sends money home every month. Jihoon leaned forward. We both do what we have to survive, Chioma. Yours is just more socially acceptable. She couldn't argue with that. How did you know? About the money, about my brother? I pay attention. His fingers drummed the table. You always check your phone during breaks, and last week you were staring at your banking app looking stressed. You work yourself to exhaustion, but never buy anything nice. The only logical explanation is you're supporting someone back home. The barista brought their drinks. Iced Americano for him, a sweet latte for her. Chioma wrapped her hands around the cup. My brother wants to be a doctor. He's brilliant, but school is expensive. My parents can't afford it, so I send what I can. That's why you came to Seoul? Part of it.
Also needed to leave Nigeria, had some complications. Damilola was part of that.
Jihoon's jaw tightened at the name. Tell me. So she did. Told him about meeting Damilola at university, about how charming he'd seemed at first, how slowly the control had crept in. The way he'd isolated her from friends, monitored her phone, made her feel small. How she'd finally saved enough to apply for a language program in Korea, and when Damilola found out, he'd exploded. Chioma rolled up her sleeve, showed Jihoon the scar running down her forearm. This wasn't from a box. This was from the night I told him I was leaving. He grabbed your broken bottle. Jihoon's hand shot out, gripped the table edge so hard his knuckles went white. I should have hurt him more. Chioma, I should have broken every bone in his hand. His voice was deadly calm, the same tone he imagined he used before fights. I should have made sure he never forgets what happens when you touch what's mine. The possessiveness in his words should have scared her. Instead, it sent heat through her veins. I'm not yours, she said quietly. Aren't you? He reached across the table, his hand covering hers. Because I've been yours for 4 months, Chioma, since the first night you worked that store and hummed while restocking shelves, completely unaware that you were the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Her breath caught. You can't just say things like that. Why not? It's true. His thumb stroked across her knuckles. I know this is fast. I know I'm not what you came to Korea for. But I can't pretend anymore. Can't keep coming to that store at 3 a.m., buying energy drinks I don't need, just to see you for 5 minutes. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to know everything about you. Jihoon's intensity was overwhelming. Want to know why you hum those specific songs, what made you choose Seoul, what you dream about when you let yourself dream. Want to know how you take your coffee and what makes you laugh. And his voice dropped. Want to know what it feels like to kiss you without the fluorescent lights and the counter between us. Chioma's heart hammered. This is insane. We barely know each other. Then let's fix that. Spend time with me, real time, not stolen minutes in a convenience store. His hand tightened on hers. Let me take you out properly, show you Seoul beyond the go Siwon and night shifts. Let me... His phone buzzed. Jihoon cursed in Korean, checked it, and his expression darkened. I have to go. Fight emergency. One of my fighters got arrested. He stood reluctantly. But Chioma, tomorrow, meet me at the gym. 7 p.m. I want to show you my world. All of it. Why? She stood too. Why are you doing this? Jihoon cupped her face, the same gentle touch he'd tried in the convenience store, and this time she didn't pull away. Because you make me want to be more than I am. Because when I look at you, I see someone worth fighting for, worth changing for. He leaned down, pressed his forehead to hers. Because I'm tired of pretending I don't feel this. Then he kissed her, soft and searching, a question more than a demand. Chioma's hands fisted in his hoodie, pulling him closer even as warning bells screamed in her mind. He tasted like coffee and possibility, like everything she'd trained herself not to want. When they broke apart, she was breathless. Tomorrow, he repeated, 7 p.m., Red Door in Hongdae. Promise me you'll come. This is a terrible idea, she whispered. Probably. His smile was devastating. Promise anyway. Tomorrow, she agreed, and watched him disappear into the Seoul streets, taking her common sense with him. That night, lying in the cramped Go Siwon room she called home, Chioma touched her lips and wondered if salvation and destruction always felt this similar. The Red Door in Hongdae was exactly as Jihoon described. No sign, no indication of what lay beyond, just weathered paint and a keypad lock. Chioma stood outside at 6:59 p.m., second-guessing everything. A group of young men emerged, sweaty and bruised, eyeing her with curiosity before moving on. She was raising her hand to knock when the door opened. Jihoon stood there and her breath caught. He wore athletic clothes that showed off a body built for violence, every muscle defined, tattoos covering his arms in intricate patterns she couldn't decipher. His split lip had healed, but a new bruise darkened his jaw. You came, he said, the same relief as yesterday. Starting to think I wouldn't? Starting to think you're smarter than me and would run far away. He stepped aside. But I'm selfish enough to be glad you didn't. The gym was exactly what she expected, and nothing like it. Yes, there was a fighting ring in the center, heavy bags hanging from chains, weight equipment scattered around, but there were also plants in the windows, music playing low, a cleanliness that spoke of pride in the space, and people, dozens of them, training with focused intensity. This is my real job, Jihoon explained, leading her through. The fighting circuit pays well, but this is what matters, teaching kids from rough neighborhoods how to channel anger into discipline, giving them somewhere safe. A teenage girl practicing kicks on a bag caught sight of them and grinned. Hyung, you brought a girlfriend?
Mind your business, Sora, Jihoon called back, but he was smiling. To Chioma, he said, "That's my sister, the one I mentioned with the surgery." "She's beautiful," Chioma said, watching the girl move with grace and power. "Takes after me," Jihoon deadpanned, then laughed at Chioma's expression. "She's my world. Everything I've done, every fight, every questionable choice, it was to keep her safe and healthy." They climbed stairs to a second floor, a small apartment above the gym. Simple furniture, a kitchen that looked barely used, windows overlooking the chaos of Hongdae below. "You live here?" "Easier than commuting. Plus, I can keep an eye on the place." Jihoon moved to the kitchen. "Hungry? I can't cook well, but I make decent ramyun." "You brought me here to feed me instant noodles?" "I brought you here to show you who I really am." He turned, leaned against the counter. "The gym, the fighting, the late-night convenience store runs because I can't sleep. This is my life, Chioma. It's not glamorous. It's complicated and sometimes violent, and definitely not what you signed up for when you came to Korea." He crossed his arms. "But it's honest. I wanted you to see it before you decide if you want any part of me." Chioma set down her bag, moved closer to him. "What if I told you I'm not looking for glamorous? What if I said I came to Korea running from one complicated situation, and I'm not eager to jump into another?" Pain flashed across his face. "Then I'd understand. I'd back off, leave you alone, keep shopping at a different convenience store so you don't have to see me." And she kissed him, cut off his rambling with her lips on his, her hand sliding up his chest to his neck. Jihoon froze for a heartbeat, then pulled her closer with a desperation that stole her breath. This kiss was nothing like yesterday's gentle question. This was claiming and surrender, need and promise. Everything they'd been dancing around for 4 months concentrated into a single moment. When they broke apart, she was dizzy. "I'm terrified of you," she admitted against his lips, "terrified of how much I already feel, how fast this is happening, and how complicated you are." But his hand spanned her waist, holding her like she might disappear. "But I think I've been lonely for so long that I forgot what it feels like to be seen." She looked up at him. "You see me, Jihoon, really see me. Not just the parts I show the world, but everything underneath. I see someone extraordinary." His thumb brushed her cheek. "I see someone who crossed the world alone to chase a dream. Someone who protects her family even when it costs her everything. Someone who hums Nigerian songs while restocking shelves at 3 a.m. because joy is a choice she makes every day." Tears burned her eyes. "You make me sound brave." "You are brave. Bravest person I've ever met." The moment shattered when footsteps thundered up the stairs. One of the men from earlier burst in, speaking rapid Korean that Chioma couldn't follow, but she caught Jihoon's reaction, the way his entire body tensed, the way his eyes went cold and calculating. He responded in Korean, then turned to her. "I have to handle something, fight-related. One of my fighters got arrested." He stood reluctantly. "But Chioma, stay here, please. I'll be back in an hour." "What's wrong?" He hesitated, then sighed. "Someone's trying to muscle in on my territory, offering my fighters more money to switch circuits. It's disrespectful, and it needs to be handled quickly." The casual way he discussed territorial disputes sent chills down his spine. This was the other side of Park Jihoon, the side that built empires through violence. "Go," she said quietly. "I'll wait." Relief and surprise crossed his face. "You're sure? I understand if..." "Jihoon," she touched his face. "I'm choosing to be here, to see all of you. So go handle your business. I'll be here when you get back." He kissed her hard and fast, then was gone, footsteps echoing down the stairs. Chioma moved to the window, watched him emerge into the street below with 5 other men. They moved like a unit, purposeful and dangerous, and Jihoon led them with the confidence of someone who'd never questioned his authority. This was the man she was falling for, not just the gentle protector who noticed her humming, but the fighter who broke bones and controlled underground circuits. Both sides existed in one complicated, dangerous, beautiful package. And God help her, Chioma wanted all of it. She was exploring his bookshelf, surprised by the mix of Korean literature and English classics, when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Chioma," Damalola's voice sent ice through her veins. "We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you." Her hand tightened on the phone. "And you were told to leave me alone. Your boyfriend can't protect you all the time. He knows where I work, where I study, where I live. You think some Korean thug scares me? Damalola, please, just leave me alone. You own me," he shouted, and she heard breaking glass in the background. 3 years I invested in you. 3 years of my time, my money, your abuse, your control, your violence. I owe you nothing. I'm coming to Korea." The words hung between them like a threat. "Got a visa, got a flight booked. We're going to settle this face to face, and your little boyfriend won't be around to save you." The line went dead. Chioma stood frozen, phone clutched in shaking hands. This couldn't be happening. She'd crossed the world to escape Damalola, built a new life, found something that felt like hope, and now he was coming here? Jihoon found her 20 minutes later, sitting on his couch staring at nothing. "Chioma." He was at her side instantly. "What happened? Are you hurt?" She told him, watched his expression shift from concerned to furious, watched his hands curl into fists. When she finished, silence filled the apartment. "When?" Jihoon's voice was deadly calm. "When is he coming?" He didn't say, just that he had a flight booked. Chioma met his eyes. "Jihoon, I can't drag you into this. This is my mess, my past, and I should just what?" He cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. "Run again?"
Spend your life looking over your shoulder? Chioma, no. You don't understand. Damalola is dangerous when he's angry, and I can't let you get hurt because of me. Let me worry about that. Cheon's thumb stroked her cheek. I told you I protect what's mine, and you are mine now, whether you've accepted it yet or not. The possessiveness should have bothered her. Instead, it made her feel safe for the first time in years. What are we going to do? We are going to make sure you are protected. He pulled out his phone, made several calls in rapid Korean. I'm putting security on you, discreet but constant. And I'm going to have a conversation with Damalola when he lands. Jihoon. Not a violent conversation, he assured her, though his eyes promised otherwise. Just a clear one, making sure he understands that Korea isn't Nigeria and you aren't alone here. He pulled her into his arms. You have me now. That changes everything. Chioma buried her face in his chest, breathing in his scent, letting his solid presence ground her. I'm scared, she admitted. Of him, of this, of how much I'm starting to need you. Need me, Chiom said fiercely. Lean on me. Let me be strong for you while you're dealing with this. He tilted her face up. And Chioma, I'm scared too. Terrified that I'm not enough to keep you safe, that my world will hurt you, that you'll wake up one day and realize I'm too complicated. You are too complicated, she said softly. But maybe I am too. Maybe we're both just complicated people trying to survive in a complicated world. She kissed him gently. And maybe that's enough. They spent the rest of the night talking. Chioma told him about growing up in Lagos, about her mother's cooking and her father's stories, about the brother she missed desperately. Jihoon told him about losing his parents young, about raising Sora alone, about building the gym from nothing. They shared fears and dreams, and all the jagged pieces that made them who they were. When Chioma finally fell asleep on his couch, Jihoon covered her with a blanket and made more calls. By sunrise, he had a security team assigned, had tracked Damalola's visa application, and had made it very clear to certain contacts that if a Nigerian man named Damalola caused any trouble in Seoul, it needed to be reported immediately. Park Jihoon had built his reputation on being smart and ruthless. For Chioma Okafor, he'd be both. 3 days later, Damalola landed at Incheon Airport. Jihoon knew before the man cleared customs. His network was thorough, and when you controlled Seoul's underground fighting circuit, information flowed freely. He met Damalola outside the airport, flanked by 2 of his best fighters. The look on the other man's face when he saw them was almost comical. Damalola, Cheons kept his voice conversational, friendly even. Welcome to Seoul. I'm Park Jihoon. We need to talk. I don't know who you think. I'm the man dating Chioma Okafor. Cheon stepped closer, and his friendly tone vanished. The woman you've been harassing. The woman you hurt. The woman who came here to escape you. Damalola tried to step back, but Jihoon's men blocked his path. This is harassment. I'll call the police. Please do. Jihoon smiled without warmth. Explain to Korean authorities why you're here harassing a woman on a student visa. See how far that gets you. He pulled out his phone, showed Damalola photos of their previous encounters. I have evidence of assault. Have witnesses who'll testify you threatened her. Have enough to make your life in Korea very, very difficult. What do you want? I want you on the next flight back to Lagos. Cheon's voice went quiet, dangerous. Want you to delete Chioma's number, forget her name, pretend she never existed.
Because if you don't, if you even think about contacting her again, I will make you regret it in ways you can't imagine. You can't threaten me. I'm not threatening. I'm promising. You heard someone I care about, someone under my protection. In my world, that has consequences. He straightened. There's a flat back to Lagos in 4 hours. My men will escort you to the gate. Make sure you get on it. Or you can refuse, and we'll see what happens when a foreign national violates his visa terms and harasses a Korean resident. The calculation in Damalola's eyes was clear. He was outmatched, outsmarted, and out of options. Fine, he spat. She's not worth this trouble anyway. Cheon's hand shot out, grabbed Damalola's collar. Watch your mouth. The words came out lethal. You don't get to speak about her. Don't get to think about her. Are we clear? Damalola nodded frantically. Cheon released him. Good. Have a safe flight. He watched his men escort Damalola back into the airport, then pulled out his phone, called Chioma, who picked up on the first ring. It's done. He's going back to Nigeria. Won't bother you again. Silence, then a shaky breath. How? Had a conversation. Very persuasive. He heard her laugh, half relief and half disbelief. You're terrifying, you know that. Only to people who threaten what's mine. Cheon smiled. To you, I'm just the guy who's really good at protection and really bad at cooking ramyun. Thank you, Chioma whispered, for this, for everything. Always, he promised. Now, get back to class. I'll see you tonight. That night, Chioma showed up at the gym with takeout from a Nigerian restaurant she discovered in Etoin. They ate on the floor of Cheon's apartment, and she taught him how to properly enjoy jollof rice while he tried to teach her Korean swear words. You're a terrible teacher, she laughed, as he corrected her pronunciation for the 5th time. You're a terrible student, he countered, pulling her into his lap. Distracted, unfocused. Whose fault is that? She looped her arms around his neck. Definitely yours. He kissed her slow and deep. You're my favorite distraction. They fell into a rhythm after that. Chioma worked her shifts, attended her language classes, and spent every free moment at the gym. She got to know Sora, who adopted her with enthusiastic approval. Got to know Cheon's fighters, young men from difficult backgrounds who treated her with careful respect. Got to know the rhythm of Cheon's world, the violence and the community, the danger and the protection. 2 months in, Cheon took her to meet his grandmother. The old woman lived in a traditional hanok in Bukchon, and she studied Chioma with sharp eyes that missed nothing. You're the one making my grandson smile, she said in careful English. Yes, Halmini. Chioma bowed respectfully, using the Korean she'd been practicing. Jihoon is very important to me. Good. The old woman nodded. He needs someone strong, someone who sees past the fighting to the good heart underneath.
She patted Chioma's hand. My grandson has made many difficult choices. Some were necessary, some were survival. But his heart is good. You see this, yes? I see it, Chioma agreed softly. Every day. Jihoon drove her home that night, and Chioma could feel the tension radiating from him. Your grandmother is wonderful, she said, breaking the silence. She liked you. His hands gripped the steering wheel. That means everything to me. But something's bothering you. He pulled over suddenly, turned to face her in the dim car. I love you. The words hung between them, raw and honest. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring this out, but Chioma, I love you. Have loved you for months. And watching you with my grandmother, seeing you in my life, in my world, his voice cracked. I need you to know that. Chioma's throat tightened. Jihoon, you don't have to say it back, he rushed on. I'm not asking for anything, just needed you to know that what I feel, it's real. It's forever. She cupped his face, made him look at her. I love you too. Terrifies me how much, how fast, but I do. You've become essential to me, and I don't know how to exist anymore without checking my phone for your messages, without hearing your voice, without... She kissed him desperately. Without this. They stayed in that car for an hour, kissing like teenagers, whispering promises and fears, mapping out a future that seemed impossible and inevitable all at once. 4 months into their relationship, everything exploded. Chioma was closing the convenience store one Thursday night when 3 men walked in. Not regular customers. Their energy was wrong, predatory. She felt it immediately. The same instinct that had kept her alive in Lagos. "We're closed," she said in Korean, hand hovering near the panic button. "We're looking for Park Jihoon's girlfriend," the leader spoke, his Korean rough. "You're her, right? The African girl?" Her blood went cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie." He moved closer, and the other 2 fanned out, blocking exits. "We know you're with Jihoon. Know he cares about you. That makes you useful." Useful for what? She hit the panic button secretly, praying someone would see. Leverage. Jihoon's been refusing to let our fighters into his circuit, won't cooperate with our expansion plans. The man smiled, and it was all threat. But maybe if we have something he values, he'll reconsider. They lunged for her. Chioma grabbed the nearest weapon, a bottle of soju, and smashed it across the leader's face. He screamed, blood pouring, and she ran. Made it 3 steps before hands grabbed her, yanked her back violently. She fought like Jihoon had been teaching her, elbows and knees and fury, but there were 2 of them, and they were trained. A fist connected with her stomach, driving the air from her lungs. Another blow to her head made the world spin. She heard shouting, heard the automatic door chime, heard Jihoon's voice, lethal and enraged. The hands holding her vanished. Chioma collapsed, gasping, vision blurry. Through the haze, she saw Jihoon moving like violence incarnate. He took down the first man with brutal efficiency, broke the second one's arm with a sickening crack. The leader tried to run, but Jihoon caught him, slammed him against the counter. "You touched her." Each word was punctuated with violence. "You put your hands on her." "Jihoon, wait!" One of his men tried to intervene. "Get her out of here." Jihoon didn't look away from the man bleeding beneath him. "Tell whoever sent you that they just made the biggest mistake of their lives." Strong hands lifted Chioma gently. She tried to protest, but pain lanced through her ribs. As they carried her out, she heard Jihoon's voice, cold and final. "Tell whoever sent you that they just made the biggest mistake of their lives." The next hours were a blur. A doctor at the gym, one who didn't ask questions, checked her over. Bruised ribs, mild concussion, various contusions. Nothing permanent, but God, everything hurt. Sora sat with her, holding her hand, looking more scared than she had ever seen her. "Appa is going to kill them," Sora whispered. "I've never seen him that angry." "How bad?" Chioma asked, her voice rough. "Bad." Sora's grip tightened. "But they deserved it. They hurt you." Jihoon appeared 3 hours later. His knuckles were split, blood on his shirt that Chioma prayed wasn't his. He moved directly to her, cupped her face with devastating gentleness. "Are you okay?" His voice shook. "Tell me you're okay." "I'm alive. That's more than I can say for those men, isn't it?" She searched his eyes. "Jihoon, what did you do?" "What I had to." He pressed his forehead to hers. "They put their hands on you, Chioma. Tried to take you from me. I couldn't." His breath hitched. "I can't lose you." "You didn't. I'm here." But even as she said it, fear crawled up her spine. "But Jihoon, this is exactly what I was afraid of. Your world bleeding into my life, making me a target." "I know." Pain etched his features. "And I'm sorry. God, Chioma, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. If you hadn't been with me..." "Don't." She grabbed his shirt despite the pain it caused. "Don't you dare apologize for loving me. Those men made a choice. They're responsible, not you. But you're hurt because of me. I'm alive because of you, Jihoon. You saved me. Again, just like you always do." He kissed her carefully, mindful of her injuries, and she tasted salt. His tears are hers, she couldn't tell. Over the next week, Jihoon waged war. Chioma didn't see most of it, but she felt the ripples. Heard whispered conversations, saw the tension in his fighters, noticed the increased security everywhere. He'd called in every favor, leveraged every connection, and made it brutally clear that anyone targeting Chioma would face consequences that made death look merciful. The rival organization backed down, not because they wanted to, but because Park Jihoon's reputation was built on following through on promises, and he'd promised destruction. But the damage was done to them.
Chioma couldn't sleep with nightmares, flinched at sudden movements, checked over her shoulder constantly. The attack had cracked something open inside her, all the fears she had been suppressing since leaving Nigeria. Jihoon noticed immediately. "Talk to me," he begged one night, watching her startle at a door closing. "Please, Chioma, let me help." "You can't fix this." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Can't fix my trauma like you fight your enemies." "Then tell me what you need." "Space." The word came out broken. "I need space to think, to figure out if I can do this, if I'm strong enough for your world." The devastation on his face nearly broke her. "How much space?" "I don't know. Maybe a lot. Maybe—" She couldn't finish. "You're leaving me." Not a question. "I don't want to," she whispered. "But Jihoon, I came to Seoul to build something stable, to be safe. And with you, I'm not safe. With you, I'm a target." "So I make you less safe?" His voice cracked. "After everything I've done to protect you?" "That's the problem." The words exploded out. "You keep protecting me, keep fighting for me, and I'm grateful, but I'm also terrified. Terrified that one day you won't get there in time. Terrified that Sora will lose her brother because he's too busy saving me. Terrified that I'm not worth all this violence." "You're worth everything." Jihoon grabbed her hands. "Chioma, you're worth burning the entire world down for." "That's what scares me most." Tears streamed down her face. "Because I believe you would. You'd destroy everything for me, and I can't carry that responsibility." Silence filled his apartment. Outside, Seoul hummed with late-night energy, oblivious to two hearts breaking. "If you need space, I'll give it to you," Jihoon finally said. "But Chioma, I need you to know something first." He tilted her face up. "I love you. Will always love you. And whenever you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here, waiting, fighting, hoping." She kissed him one last time, tasting goodbye and regret and all the love they couldn't make work. Then she left, taking the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator because she couldn't bear to drag it out. Jihoon didn't follow, didn't call, gave her the space she'd asked for, even though it was killing him. 3 weeks passed like years. Chioma threw herself into working classes, avoided the gym, avoided Hongdae, avoided anything that reminded her of Park Jihoon. She told herself it was for the best, that she'd made the right choice, that safety was more important than love. But at night, alone in her Goseiwon, she touched her ribs where they'd been bruised and remembered Jihoon's careful hands checking her injuries, remembered his fury and his tenderness, his violence and his gentleness, all the contradictions that made him who he was. Her phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Sora's name flashed on the screen. "Ani?" The girl's voice was panicked. "You need to come. Appa's fighting tonight. Big match, winner take all. But he's not himself. He's going to get killed." Chioma was moving before she consciously decided. "Where?" Sora gave her an address in Gangnam, an abandoned warehouse. "Please hurry." "He's fighting in 20 minutes. The warehouse was packed when Chioma arrived. Hundreds of people, money changing hands, the energy electric and dangerous. Sora grabbed her immediately. "Thank God. Come on." She dragged her through the crowd. "Why is he fighting if he's not ready?" "Because he's trying to feel something." Sora's eyes filled with tears. "Since you left, he's been empty. Just going through the motions. This fight, it's against someone dangerous. Really dangerous. And Appa doesn't care if he gets hurt because he's already hurt." The range suddenly stopped.
He looked thinner, exhausted. The light in his eyes dimmed. His opponent was massive, covered in scars, radiating violence. The bell rang. What followed was brutal. Jihoon fought well, but not great. Not with his usual precision. He took hits he should have dodged, let openings pass. It was like watching someone who'd given up. "Stop the fight!" Chioma grabbed Sora. "Make them stop!" "I can't! Once it starts—" A devastating blow caught Jihoon's jaw, sent him sprawling. Blood poured from his nose. The crowd roared. His opponent moved in for the finish. "Jihoon!" Chioma's scream cut through the noise. Everything stopped. Jihoon's head snapped up. eyes finding her in the crowd. For a moment, the entire warehouse held its breath. Then he moved, fast and focused, and absolutely lethal. He dodged the next attack, countered with a combination that sent his opponent stumbling. Another flurry of strikes, each one precise and devastating. 2 minutes later, it was over. Jihoon stood victorious, breathing hard, eyes locked on Chioma. The crowd erupted. Money exchanged hands. People shouted his name. Jihoon vaulted out of the ring, pushed through the crowd, and stopped directly in front of her. Blood covered his face. His body was already bruising, but his eyes were alive again. "You came," he said. "You were losing." Her hands hovered over him, wanting to touch, afraid to hurt. "You were going to let him kill you." "Didn't care." His voice was raw. "Without you, nothing matters." "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." Tears blurred her vision. "You have Sora, the gym, all these people depending on you. And I'd trade it all for one more day with you." He cupped her face with bloody hands. "I gave you space, gave you time. But Chioma, I can't pretend anymore. Can't pretend I'm okay without you. Can't pretend my world makes sense when you're not in it. Your world is dangerous. So is crossing the ocean alone. So is standing up to an abusive ex. So is loving someone like me." His forehead touched hers. "You're the bravest person I know. Don't let fear win now." "I'm terrified," she whispered. "Me too," he laughed shakily. "Terrified I'm not good enough, that I'll fail you, that my love will get you hurt. But Chioma, I'm more terrified of living without you." People were staring. The whole warehouse watched them. Chioma didn't care. "I love you," she said clearly. "I love you, and it scares me, and I don't know how to make our worlds fit together, but I want to try, want to figure it out, want—" He kissed her, right there in front of everyone, bloody and desperate and perfect. The crowd cheered, Sora sobbed happily, and Chioma wrapped her arms around Jihoon like she'd never let go. When they broke apart, he was smiling. "Come home with me, let me clean up, and then we'll talk, really talk, figure out how to make this work." "Okay," she touched his split lip gently. "But Jihoon, no more stupid fights when you're heartbroken. Promise me?" "Promise. Now that I have you back, I have everything to fight for." They left the warehouse hand in hand, Sora trailing behind them, chattering excitedly. Seoul stretched out around them, vast and complicated and full of possibility. "I'm still scared," Chioma admitted in the car. "Good. Fear means you're alive, means what we have matters enough to scare you." "When did you get so wise?" "Had 3 weeks of misery to think. Figured out that love isn't about eliminating danger. It's about choosing someone worth facing danger for." "Pretty words for a fighter." "Pretty words for my pretty woman." He grinned despite his injuries. "I've been practicing." She laughed, really laughed, and it felt like breathing again. That night, after Jihoon cleaned up and the doctor checked him over, they lay tangled together in his bed. No pressure, just presence. Chioma traced the tattoos on his arms, each one telling a story. "I want to learn everything," she said softly. "About you, your world, your language. Want to understand all of it." "I want that too. Want to meet your family, learn about Nigeria, understand what made you this strong." "Deal." She kissed his chest right over her name. "We'll teach each other." "Chioma?" "Hmm?" "When you're ready, when you feel safe," he tilted her face up. "Marry me. Not now, not tomorrow, but someday. Let me spend my life making sure you never regret choosing me." "That's a big promise." "I'm good at keeping promises." His smile was soft, vulnerable. "Especially to you." "Then ask me again someday," she whispered. "When we figured out how our worlds fit together, when I'm not scared anymore. Ask me, and I'll say yes." "I'll wait." He kissed her forehead. "However long it takes." They fell asleep like that, two complicated people who'd found something simple in each other. Love wasn't supposed to fix everything, wasn't supposed to erase danger or fear or the fundamental differences between their worlds, but it was enough to make the risk worth taking. 6 months later, Chioma stood in Jihoon's gym teaching a self-defense class for women. She'd gotten certified, partnered with local organizations, and built a program that combined his fighting knowledge with her understanding of vulnerability. Jihoon watched from the sidelines, same way he'd watched her in the convenience store. But now he didn't hide his expression, let everyone see the love and pride radiating from him. After class, he approached with that smile that still made her heart race. "You're incredible, you know that? I learned from the best. Although you could learn better teaching methods, you're too impatient. Only with people who aren't you. With you, I have infinite patience." Liar, but she kissed him anyway. They found their rhythm. Chioma worked and studied, building toward her own business someday. Jihoon ran the gym and fought occasionally, but with more care now, more awareness that someone was waiting for him to come home safe. They fought sometimes, about his overprotectiveness or her stubborn independence, but they always came back together, always chose each other. Her brother visited that summer and Jihoon won him over immediately with genuine interest in his studies and stories about Chioma's fearlessness. "He's good for you, sister," her brother said. "Makes you happy." "He does," Chioma agreed. "Watching Jihoon and Sora bicker about dinner options makes me feel brave enough to want impossible things." "Like what?" "Like forever." That night, under Seoul's lights, Jihoon found her on the balcony. "What are you thinking about?" He wrapped arms around her from behind. "Everything. How I came here alone and scared. How I thought making myself invisible was strength." She leaned into him. "And how wrong I was." "You were never invisible." His voice rumbled against her back. "You were just waiting for someone worth being seen by." "Modest as always." "It's a gift." He turned her to face him, and his expression shifted to something serious. "Chioma, I know I said I'd wait, said I'd ask again when you were ready, but I need you to know that I am ready."
He pulled a small box from his pocket. "But I need you to know that I am ready. Have been ready since the moment you walked into that convenience store and rearranged my entire world." Her breath stopped. "You don't have to answer now," he continued. "Don't have to answer for years if you're not ready. But I wanted you to have this." He opened the box, revealing a simple ring. "Wanted you to know that when you're ready for forever, I'm here, waiting, hoping." Chioma looked at the ring, at this man who'd seen her when she thought herself invisible, who'd fought for her, protected her, loved her through fear and doubt and all her jagged edges. "Ask me," she whispered. "What?" "Ask me, Jihoon, right now." His eyes widened. "Chioma, are you?" "Ask me before I change my mind and decide to be sensible." He laughed, pulled her closer. "Chioma Okafor, will you marry me? Will you let me spend my life loving you, protecting you when you'll let me, being protected by you when I need it? Will our impossible worlds keep colliding until they become one world we build together?" "Yes." The word came out clear and certain. Yes to all of it. He slipped the ring on her finger, and it fit perfectly, just like them, Chioma thought. Different and complicated, but somehow exactly right. They married 6 months later, a small ceremony blending Korean and Nigerian traditions. Sora cried through the entire thing, and Chioma's brother gave a speech about love being worth crossing oceans for. But the best moment came after, when Jihoon pulled her into a quiet corner. "No regrets?" he asked. Chioma looked at her husband, at the man who'd seen her when she thought herself invisible, who'd fought for her, protected her, loved her through fear and doubt and all her jagged edges. "Not a single one," she said. "You see me, Jihoon. Really see me. That's all I ever wanted." "I see you," he agreed, kissing her softly, "every day for the rest of our lives." And in Seoul's endless lights, Chioma Okafor Farah Park finally understood what it meant to be truly, perfectly, completely seen. Years would bring challenges. Their different worlds would clash sometimes, require compromise and patience and fierce love. But they'd face it together.
Two people who'd learned that the biggest risk was not in loving dangerously, but in never loving at all. And every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 a.m., Jihoon still showed up wherever Chioma was, just to watch her for a few minutes. Old habits, he'd say. But they both knew the truth. Some people spend their whole lives being invisible, but Chioma had found someone who'd never stop looking.